What is going on YouTube? This is Acid Root. So I'm going to review the debut mixtape by Lil Baby. Basically, this product is called Perfect Timing and it came out in the spring of 2017. So back in like the spring of 2024, I reviewed Lil Baby's second mixtape, which was basically Harder Than Hard or something like that. It was brought to you by DJ Drama and Lil Baby. It was basically a Gangsta Girls that came out way out in 2017. Pretty good pitch. It's actually a very bona fide and beefened up type mixtape that had a ton of hits on there. But this one actually outstrips that particular product, which is interesting because usually Gangsta Girls are pretty like heralded and pitched like that. But this is a classic mixtape here, I would have to say. It's pretty much in terms of like 2010s trap music, in terms of mixtape type fare, this might be one of the better, if not best, mixtapes of like the second half of the 2010s, I'd have to say, at least in terms of free downloads. The concept about this particular mixtape is just the fact that you can get this. It's not a commercial mixtape, it's not a retail mixtape, so you can actually download this on places that would have Dat Piff mixtapes, some pitches like that, some of those type appeal certified mixtapes, some of those type places, I'd have to say. And it's just an overall excellent type of fare that just has a lot of good blistering effects, and this is full blown pretty sheer, and it's easy to see. It's easy to see why Lil Baby was dominant throughout rap music and trap, the trap subgenre between like 2017 to about 2022 and pitches like that. Now, I would probably say that lasted by Lil Baby's dominance into even 2023, but he's been kind of quiet in recent times. He's been having like some snafus as far as like folks getting shot at his music videos and some of those type of appeals, just things like that. But like one of his restaurant affiliates kind of died back in the summer as far as pitches like that can happen. But I look after just being able to say this particular product, it's I think paying attention to when Lil Baby eventually drops his next project is pretty poignant just because of the concept of some of these type ones. And it's just interesting that it seems like he's kind of having either an off year or just people are kind of taking some degree of a vacation from him. It just feels like Kendrick is like full blown the dominant factor of this particular. He's like the de facto personality in rap music circa 2024, I'd have to say. And it's just kind of the concept that Gunna was kind of brushed to the side between like the snitching stuff that kind of happened, and then the concept of just the fact that Young Thug being in prison, some of that type of appeal. But Lil Baby has just been kind of off to the wayside. But I look after this particular product. This is a classic here, so I'm going to go ahead and say that this mixtape will get a 10 out of 10. It did have 4 music videos released for it, so I'm going to talk as if there were 4 singles. It's a pretty good concept just to say that his first project right off the bat, pretty much no prior real involvement with rap music as far as that particular pitch kind of went. Maybe he had like some songs here and there in 2016, but it felt like he just kind of came on the scene like early 2017. He's been with the business ever since with that particular pitch as far as this kind of went. But this is probably, like I said, 2024 is one of Lil Baby's quieter years, but this one's definitely 2017 is definitely pretty boisterous, I'd have to say. I feel like this particular album helped usher in new era trap as far as pitches like that kind of happened. I feel like Future, Yo Gotti, some of those type folks, Migos definitely introduced like 2010s trap. Some albums like The Art of Hustle by Yo Gotti and Dirty Sprite 2 by Future, What a Time to Be Alive by Drake and Future, some of those type ones, Migos, Culture, some of those type pitches. But in terms of like free mixtape and more hungry type folks that were more young bucks around this particular time in 2017, 2018. I mean, obviously 2017, 2018 is 6, 7, 8 years ago nowadays, but just to be able to say and stuff as far as pitches like that kind of happens, just a good concept kind of see were originally like the placeholders and were at the crest of like trap music circa just 5 or 6 or 7 years ago. It's just a good pitch to kind of get that. But so I definitely like the poignancy behind it. But there were basically 4 singles off this particular product, so at least 4 music videos, which once again is a pretty good pitch considering the fact that this is Lil Baby's debut project here. So Option is the first one. Option is one of the singles off this particular product. I'm going to say this is like a brooding kind of round the neighborhood trap thump about this particular song. I'd have to say it's like a local cruise noise. I'd have to say about this one. This is just like some slog kind of dredge. This is just like some hustlers kind of makeshift pitches like that. Just some trap fare as far as that particular kind of goes. Just some trap makeshift as far as that particular kind of happens. I really like the overall soul and type appeal of a lot of this particular project. A lot of this is pretty dusky and just has some great productions on here. It's very melancholy. I just like the concept of a lot of these on here. Option is one of those type ones. Riders another of those type ones. There's some ones on here. Like I'd probably say For You is a relatively slinky type one in a more turn up type sense, but there's just some ones on here. Grinding is another one that kind of has some of that soul and typeness just about it, just in particular. So there's just some nice ones. Actually, For You is more of a song for the ladies. Raxin is the one I was talking about with just a little bit of dap turn up as far as that particular kind of goes. But to talk about Raxin, this is another nice one that had a music video for. This is like a pseudo buzz single pitch like that. I'd have to say it's like a basic dap and kickoff noise. I'd have to say about this one. definitely some outing commotion, I would feel like, and this is like a good knock for some rendezvous. I would definitely have to suppose a particular pretty dope song just kind of get. I remember when I reviewed Ouija Mac back in April, I kind of felt like his 2018 album Gutter Water was pretty similar to this particular type song. Ouija Mac's particular album Gutter Water was pretty similar to songs like Racks In by Lil Baby. I'd have to say in particular, so it's a good enough concept to kind of get that. Grindin' is another morose type one to kind of get here. It's pretty similar to Option. I'd have to say it's like a soul and kind of moody on the grind on like a darker day type song. I'd have to say as far as particular pitches like that kind of happen. It's like some good motivator. It's like a good motivator of a song. I would definitely feel like some hustle songs. I do like the concept of Lil Baby having some of this hustle noise on here. So I mean, he does have the motivation. He's kind of similar to like Jeezy and some of those type folks, Yo Gotti, some of those type folks that get to it. It's like a good one to smoke one and get to it as far as pitches like that kind of happen. There's some more kind of moody, dark trap work shift as far as pitches like that kind of happen. But there's a good assortment of songs like this on here, I'd have to say. For You is a pretty nice one. This is more for the ladies, just a little bit more blurry, just within a standard trap touch sense, not quite as morose, I'd have to say, but it's a real nice one. It's like a blurry kind of quick times boo song. I would definitely feel like it's like a thumping heavy knock that this song particularly kind of has. It's like some new age trap. It's definitely like a new age trap gem, I would have to say, and it's like some basic kind of stunt type music. It kind of has the concept of just being like a stunt type song, just with an aspect of having bay and boo in mind and some of those type pitches, just to particularly kind of get this busier times, just not having much time to really have for really much of it's not really having much time for much things as far as like importance kind of goes, just within the concept of it really getting towards the money and just pitches like that, just really getting towards the hustle and pitches like that. I'd have to say just a good concept, kind of have some of that. But I do like the basic appeal of this one. This one's a little bit more presentable in like the sense, I don't know if this is like the most popular song according to Spotify. I'd have to look up Spotify to see what the most popular songs were. I'm on an internet free computer as far as pitches like that kind of go, but I look after it just being able to say this one just has some basic kind of radio snap about it, just the most compatible type one with like a standard format that's just not the more morose typeness about it. I do feel like some of these morose type songs work pretty damn well, I'd have to say, but just within the concept of just something that's more typical kind of 2010s trap that you'd hear on Instagram stories and pitches like that. This has a little bit of pep to its step and just kind of more standard cocksure kind of bravado and pitches like that. This is a nice one for that sort of appeal. This is what I have to say. But yeah, basically out of the 12 songs on this particular mixtape, I recommend every song minus one song, which is just the fourth song, 9 to 5. So that particular song just didn't have a good enough pitch as far as that kind of went. Was just kind of one that was, you know, with the song being called 9 to 5, was aiming for like more of like the work shift and just like a more kind of commercial rap type sense. I'd have to say just within the concept of it, just trying to do that. I mean, I feel like Lil Baby's standard aim in the first place just already fit that work shift particular fold. So trying to do commercial rap just within that sense of trying to have something that's completely for like blue collar kind of work shift type fare, like something that like NF or some of those type folks were kind of doing, just doesn't really fit Lil Baby's particular fold. Now it's not to say that he wouldn't be able to do it, but this on this particular concept of a song on here, it just didn't really reach like the sheer kind of quality that I would have liked for it to. So that's just kind of the concept of it. But it is like, if you are looking for some sort of makeshift blue collar, just like 3:30, 4:30 p.m. type dredge and like a pop rap type sense, that is one. But it's just one I didn't see really much eye to eye with as far as like the quality behind it. But every other song on here I recommend, so it gets a 10 out of 10. So Rider is a nice one. This has Young Thug on there, which is a pretty good team up as far as that particular kind of goes. It's like a haunting kind of trap horror of a song, I'd have to say. This song has a particular menacing beat, I would feel like, and it's like a bustling kind of get to it in like a dusky flip mode. The song is like a bustling get to it song, I'd have to say, in particular, and it's like a dusky kind of flip mode commute, I'd have to say. So it's just a good concept, kind of get some of that. It's kind of definitely pretty similar to some of these ones like Option and Grindin'. I'd have to say just a more haunting type one. Just the turn up on this particular sheer and ghastliness is probably turned up to 9.5, 10 out of 10. Probably, I would definitely say the ghastliness is pretty much turned up to 10 out of 10 in terms of the menacingness and just the overall sheerness that it kind of gets to. So it's just a good concept. Definitely some flip mode type stuff to kind of get here. It's a good concept to kind of, you know, relatively ditch the work shift and get ready for some turn up as far as those particular moments kind of happen. A real good song on here for some of that turn up, like Racks In, I would definitely feel like is 100 Brown. This has Lil Yachty on the guest feature on here, which is a pretty good concept for that. It's like a turbulent and kind of mischievous club pounder, I would definitely feel like. Is like some heavy slam about this particular song, I would feel like, in particular. Great stuff for that and that sort of fare. It's another real boisterous type one. This like some IG story type music, I'd have to say. A real nice one to kind of have for some of that craze and just turning up for the night and pitches like that, or relative successive nights, I'd say. And this is some great night commerce. good hangout type fare. So overall, just festivities. Another turn up type song to kind of get here is Plug. This is a nice one. It's like a woozing kind of quick trap trippiness. I would have to say good concept for that. It's like some tipsy kind of house party noise, I would feel like. Basic kind of social night jig of a song, I'd have to say. Basic social night jig of a song, I'd have to say. It's definitely pretty superb how many productions on this particular mixtape are that supreme, I'd say. It's just an excellent type concept. This is a really like sonically pleasing type mixtape to kind of get here. It just contributes to the classic score that it gets as far as a lot of this kind of particularly kind of goes. Just like these morose type ones, and they're pretty contemporary also, just to be able to say for 2017, just the concept when, I mean, that, you know, trap beats do have like their appeal within the sense of it, but just the concept of actually getting ones that are not just, it's not so much like a hit and miss type tangent like certain folks, like when you think Eminem kind of doing some of this stuff, not to full blown say that Eminem can't pick good productions, but just certain folks in some senses, this kind of, it's just here and there. Especially, I feel like it's just more net after net on this particular project, but you know, obviously not to jinx Lil Baby, but this is just some good stuff here. Trust is a pretty nice one. This is the last song on the particular product, and this has Young Scooter on there, which is a good team up. It's particularly pretty good to get him on there. This is like a real talk and gloomy kind of standard late day dredge of a song, I'd have to say. Pretty nice concept for that. It's like some typical kind of, this song would be like some typical kind of trap makeshift traverse, I'd have to say. So it's just a good commute of one. Pretty similar to like Grind In, Option, some of those type ones, I'd have to say. A little bit of Rider just within the sense, but just, I mean, this is another morose one within a relative sense, but it's a little bit more cheered up. Just, it's kind of gloomy, but it's probably, I would say, compared to songs like Rider and Option, some of those type ones are really relatively morose, more like an 8 or a 9 out of 10. I'd probably say that Trust is more of like just like a 7 or 8, just within the concept. It has some relative, this is kind of more ruminating type fare, just within the sense of like that standard hustler's makeshift as far as pitches like that kind of happen. Got to get some money, get some bills paid, some pitches like that, the standard dredge and traverse as far as that would kind of happen. A different change of pace would be the song Our Year, which has Gunna on there, which is a good concept, just because I question, you know, if Lil Baby and Gunna are going to put out songs again as far as pitches like that kind of happen. They probably needs to happen as far as that would particularly kind of go. It's like a starry-eyed and boisterous kind of success song, I would feel like, which is a good concept just to talk about, not just the broodiness and the overall slog type appeal of a lot of this morose factor on this particular project, but an actual success song, that just calibrates like the movement of having like actually hitting net and getting to some of that type pitch as far as being able to do it, and just have like some good prime times as far as just being able to say, I mean, some of the song is anticipation of success, but some of it's actually getting the success and having the enjoyment of having a good day and this payday type feel and just a good mood type aspect of having some good times, that I'd say. So it's a good primer for like a bout of excitement, I would feel like, is the concept of getting ready to get crunk in a few hours. Some pitches like that, just got some money, some pitches of that relative fair, just some bad bitches showing up in a little bit, just a good concept, kind of have some of that type of excitement, or just like some good, relatively starry-eyed but still in a pretty glossy type mood to kind of have. So that's a nice one. Days Off is a pretty nice one as well. This is the first song off here. It's like a grimy kind of get to money slog. It's like a grimy kind of get to the money slog of a song, I'd have to say. It's like an overcast and kind of ugly day type feel about this particular one. Another morose type one to kind of get, pretty similar to like Trust a little bit, with just a little bit more relative pep about it. Just a good hustle and motivator type song. It's like some basic motivation, I would definitely have to say, and it's like some good trap dredge to kind of get here. Just another standard hustler's makeshift and trap makeshift as far as that particular kind of goes. Do you like the concept of some of this? Just get to money, just standard commerce, and just relative blue collar type fare, just within a trap sense as far as that particular kind of happens. Some of these songs on here, Trust, Days Off, Option, Grind In, Rider, in some senses, some of these type ones just have that relative type appeal. So it mixes the boundaries pretty well as far as having some turn up type moments like songs like Plug, 100 Round, Racks In, some of those type ones. And I'd probably say Up is another nice one within that relative sense, but it's just kind of the concept that you do get some dredge on here. It's like in a dark sense. So it's just it's a morose type project, but I do appreciate the appeal behind it as far as those aspects kind of effectively happen. So it's just a pretty turbulent type project and an overall festive type one that just gauges like the concepts, and it has the moodiness factor, but it does it in a sense where it's very compelling, I'd have to say. And I'm not sure if I talked about Up, but I'm going to talk about this one. This at least has Gunna on here and like Duke, cat named Duke, who I don't know about, but this song is like a basic stunt noise of a song, I'd have to say. It's like a good wake up for demon time living, I would definitely feel like, and it's like some evening traverse and get supplies type song to kind of have. So it's a good concept, kind of just wake up 7:30, 8 p.m., some pitches like that, just head to the liquor store, head to like the gas station, some of that type fare, get some swishers, some of that typeness, just to get like Chex Mix, some food, some of those type pitches, just to kind of be able to have within that relative aspect. It's a good concept, kind of get started with the night and just be able to pop off as far as that particular one goes. Just some easy and a trap living, just nightbound typeness, just kind of have for some of that stunt type mode. So I'm thinking I about covered just about every song on this particular product that I recommend, and just the songs in general, I'd have to say. So yeah, this mixtape gets a 10 out of 10. I'd have to say this blistering type appeal, this overall the quality of behind it, just all the boundary, just all the bases that this particular product covered. The social score is going to get a 10 out of 10 as well, just because the overall appeal behind it. I do like the blend of like the nightlife mixed with like some trap. I do like the blend of nightlife mixed with some trap makeshift as far as pitches like that kind of having just a good appeal. Has 4 singles on here, 4 music videos that have a lot of blistering type effects and just after effects. I like how that would kind of happen. It's like the aspect of some of these stunt type songs, just some standard commerce and pitches like that, just the standard day malaise and some of that type Pharaoh, just trap makeshift and just getting to the money. Lil Baby's a pretty good motivator as far as pitches like that kind of happen. It's like the concept money get type music with the concept of having some later on in the night type trap life or like demon time type fair and just pitch like that. It's a relatively fun album. I look after it, maybe the club pounder, the biggest probably club pounder on this particular product in terms of the singles would be Racks In. I do feel like 100 Round is a pretty nice one as well. Plug's pretty nice on some of these type ones, but I just look after it. I think Lil Baby got bigger songs later on, like his 2018 album, that song he did with Drake, as far as pitch like that can happen. Now, this is definitely some boisterous type stuff, I would have to say. It was just kind of the concept that it's very hungry and in the trenches, and I like the concept of seeing like this hungry, more feral type mode from Lil Baby, because it definitely has like some jackal like snarl about it. I just think it's a pretty blistering type one that I just question if hopefully this bite wasn't lost later on later projects, I'd have to say. But this is a classic here. This is like pretty much like the 2010s trap. It's like the mid 2010s trap variation of like Jeezy's Thug Motivation or Trap of Jeezy's Thug Motivation 101 or Trap or Die from 2005. Your pick of either one of those particular type products, but it definitely has that blistering type appeal. Very revolutionary type product. Did a lot of things right, and I do recommend it quite a bit. So I'd say in terms of the future, like once again, Lil Baby has been quiet in 2024, so hopefully we get some more music. There's still a few more months left in 2024, so maybe he will drop something like that. Hopefully we can get back to the fold as far as pitches like that can happen, because I wouldn't want him to fall out of the spotlight just being able to say he's not going to put out more music, because it's definitely some excellent type stuff here. We're going to have to start getting to some of his albums. I know he has a ton more products, but this is definitely a classic here in terms of the appeal, I'd have to say.